Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome back to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic, your host. And one of the things I wanted to bring up is the government-funded Civilian Marksmanship Program. And this is I'll tell you about the mission, etc. But their website is CMP, as in Charlie, Mary, Paul.org. And their mission is to promote excellence in marksmanship and firearms safety through nationwide youth programs, competitions, and partnership with proceeds from the restoration and sale of historic American firearms in a secure and accountable promise. Their safety promise states the federal law that established the Civilian Marksmanship Program makes firearms safety one of its highest priorities. Target shooting established its record as one of the safest sports of all because everyone in it and enjoy it. All they have to do is follow some basic safety rules. There are several thousand junior sporting clubs, JROTC unit rifle teams, 4-H shooting sports clubs, Boy Scout troops, and venturing crews, youth camps, junior shooting organizations that practice and compete in position air rifle shooting and other air rifle activities. These programs have more than 100,000 participants in the United States. These youth marksmanship activities have compiled an outstanding safety record where gun-related accidents are extremely rare. Rifle marksmanship and activities are indeed among the safest of all youth sports. Target shooting is a sport of control and discipline where everyone involved, including participants, instructors, coaches, and range officers, are all expected to know and apply the sport rules at all times. The federal law that established the CMP makes firearm safety one of its highest priorities, and it's to instruct citizens in the United States in marksmanship and to promote practice and safety in the use of firearms. To fulfill this responsibility, the CMP produces a variety of safety materials, which can be ordered through the CMP e-store. So the CMP basically allows people to purchase World War II era and Korean War era firearms. These may include 1911s for a pistol. They may include an M1 Garand, M1 carbine. There's also some other drill rifles available. And as of a couple days ago, as of July 1st, there is a revised sales policy and procedures. And I'm going to go over an article from Gerald O'Keefe, who is chairman and the CEO of the Civilian Marksmanship Program. During our competitions, I frequently spend time on the firing line, shaking hands and conversing with our most avid loyalists. I've received a lot of feedback, much of which rightly praises the efforts of our 150 employees. Each CMP member wears multiple hats and works diligently to ensure the CMP mission marches forward. We are a rare organization given the long average tenure that our employees enjoy. That's a signal that for them, the CMP is more than a job. It forms a significant part of their identity. Our mission is their mission and they live it. They work tirelessly, driven by the sample smile of a competitor, firearm purchaser, or youth camp attendee. However, as we strive to serve various groups under the banner of, quote, promoting marksmanship, end quote, and as we advance our numerous operational activities, we recognize opportunities for employment. With each social media post, email, forum comment, or in-person critique, Your passion for our shared mission is evident. Because we are so invested in our mission, we take your suggestions to heart. They remind us that what we do matters to many. Recently, these questions and suggestions have centered around our policy to sell receivers or rifles reclaimed from previously inoperable drill rifles. You've expressed your concerns about the transparency associated with this sales effort, the noticeably diminished supply of supply rifles, and ultimately, the financial viability of CMP and the many activities we support in the shooting sports. With that said, the policy change detailed below represents our commitment to operational transparency. As you know, CMP is a unique creation enabled by a public law to carry out a mission of national importance. Promoting marksmanship, firearm safety, and youth development requires us to uphold the traditional values of openness and integrity in our efforts. We acknowledge that our responsibility to you and the mission we serve is a mission that I firmly believe is as important today as it has ever been. The CMP's surplus rifle sales business model is dependent upon authorized inventory transferred from the Department of Army. While this has been plentiful over the years, there are ebbs and flows. We are in one of those periods where now our inventory of M1911 pistols is extremely strong, while our surplus rifle inventory is somewhat diminished. We forecasted this for some time and are taking the following actions. Number one, replenish the surface rifle pipeline and inventory to the CMP. The primary solution here is working with the Department of Army and Department of State to repatriate U.S.-owned Garands and carbines from certain countries. These efforts have been underway for approximately 2 years. They are complex diplomatic efforts between countries, but progress has been made in terms of identifying quantities of guns on hand, locations, and other administrative and logistics information. Country-to-country discussions continue, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we will have success and certainly keep you informed. Reclaimed drills, rifles, and receivers. As we've communicated previously, we've successfully conducted programmatic testing on a number of Garand and M1903/A3 samples and are testing each and every rifle coming out of the program to ensure the metallurgical integrity and safety of these guns. This article will address the issue that some of you have raised in terms of our transparency of these items in the sales process. Bottom line, up front, we agree and are going to change to the full transparency in terms customers knowing exactly what they're buying, reclaimed or not reclaimed. An important note is to have that we have a strategic quantity of these reclaimed guns and are going through the process to make them available by doing the right things. There are, in fact, many, many great guns in this group, and they are safe. Produce a CMP commercial variant. Again, as we've recently communicated, we are producing an M1 rifle with a commercial forged receiver as its centerpiece. We are in the final test phase and hope to have production receivers/M1s available for sale later this summer. This is an important initiative to begin to flex CMP's muscles outside of the surplus firearm space, which is finite. As many of you know or might suspect, the surplus rifle sales segment of the CMP's business model is the backbone of the business, and the current inventory of non-reclaimed Garands and other legacy rifles is well below historical norms. That said, I do want to assure all our customers, competitors, and friends that the CMP continues to operate in a strong fiscal position, actually a very strong position. The reclaimed receivers and rifles number in the tens of thousands. They're in great condition and represent the full suite of shootable and collectible guns. Our other surplus gun sale channels, notably surplus M1911s, have plentiful inventory and sales are strong. And as discussed above, we are working diligently to restore a reliable rifle pipeline of Garands and other rifles as quickly as we can. With all this, we're not cutting back on any programs, events, or competitions. In fact, we're looking at where we can do even more to fulfill our federally chartered mission to promote marksmanship. The state of the CMP from a business perspective remains strong. With all this as a precursor and somewhat strategic overview, the balance of this article will discuss in some detail how we're going to adjust policy and process to sell surplus rifles of all types given current inventory levels. Over the years, the CMP has collected and maintained an extensive inventory of drill and parade rifles returned from veteran organizations and schools throughout the country. CMP's recent introduction of receivers reclaimed from this project seeks to responsibly leverage this inventory, returning tens of thousands of surplus arms to the collectors and marksmen of America. To understand the value of the project, our customers should first understand the condition of the inventory supporting the initiative. The inventory made available to this project consists exclusively of surplus rifles, rendered inoperable in a minimally invasive fashion to support ceremony use where live fire would not be required. Our inventory has not been cut, sectioned, or demilled by any standard. These rifles exhibit only tack welds in key locations to render them inoperable, meaning they maintain status as regulated firearms for the duration of our process. So what is all this stuff? Well, a reclaimed rifle is a firearm that was previously a drill rifle, rendered inoperable by minimally invasive means that maintains the general structural integrity of the receiver. When executed properly, these rifles have been professionally restored through a structured and documented engineering process that ensures quality control standards and safety margins equal to that of any other rifle. This includes painstaking removal of welds and remachining each receiver to its original specification, along with a verification of metallurgical integrity to ensure live fire serviceability. A re-weld rifle generally refers to firearms that have been crudely or privately reassembled from cut receiver parts or scrap components, often without metallurgical testing, safety verification, or adherence to inspection standards. These firearms, unless certified by a reputable program like CMP, may pose unknown safety risks and typically lack provenance or quality assurance. The CMP's reclaimed rifles are not re-welds. They are fully inspected, certified, and tested to exceed typical safety protocols and come with the confidence of our engineering and armory teams. CMP has partnered with industry experts to extensively test representative samples from our drill receiver inventory to determine initial viability of the project. Worst-case conditions were replicated in a subset by intentionally compromising heat treats, and all sample receivers were subjected to extreme pressure-proof loads to determine the inherent strength of receivers in our drill inventory. All performed admirably, maintaining deformation deltas well within safety margins, acknowledging the possibility of a subsurface defect at weld transition zones. All test samples were subjected to destructive micrograph inspection to determine the likely frequency of microcracks stemming from weld processes. Subsurface defects were detected in about 7% of the samples and drove significant production decisions to reliably identify and remove any receiver with defects from inventory. CMP's unprecedented and extensive efforts to evaluate the potential of this inventory drive a high confidence in all the products that we use in these receivers. Every CMP receiver destined for reclamation undergoes an initial evaluation and sort to determine suitability for the process. Those receivers that are made the cut are transferred to our industry partner and further evaluated and eventually reclaimed. Old welds are inspected, removed, and filled as necessary to ensure the most uniform finish possible before each receiver is remachined to USGI specification. To ensure metallurgical integrity and isolate the occurrence of any subsurface defect, all reclaimed receivers undergo advanced evaluation by dual field wet magnetic particle inspection. Only receivers that pass the wet MPI test and the final QC inspections are permitted to enter CMP's available inventory for rifle production. In response to the feedback we received since integration of the drill receivers into inventory, CMP has made the decision to begin differentiating products containing reclaimed receivers with a new series of item numbers. Effective immediately, any rifles containing a receiver associated with the reclamation project will bear an RC suffix, added to the traditional grade that the rifle represents. For example, rifles containing a reclaimed receiver that meets the criteria for a service grade will be observed with an RM1 service-RC item number. Each of these products have been rigorously tested to meet or exceed the quality standards expected of their non-RC components or counterparts and have come back with the same limited lifetime warranty offered on all of our rifles. It is our hope and effort that the differentiating our inventory will provide clarity and aid in the selection of a product that meets the customer's needs and expectations. CMP's non-claimed rifle inventory is somewhat diminished and generally does not support the demand for these products at our typical scale or sales volume. As described above, our efforts therefore have shifted to the production of tens of thousands of reclaimed receivers and rifles. Garands are now available. M1903A3 rifles will be available fall of 2025. We are excited to return these to our customers as fully functional firearms that will continue to support the needs of shooters and collectors alike. Given this situation and effective immediately, legacy non-reclaimed rifles will now only be sold via two channels. First of all, in stores and via the CMP auction site under a different process than they typically have. The CMP acknowledges that in-store sales represent a limited channel, and to ensure a fair process and a more equal access for all customers seeking non-reclaimed variants of our traditional rifles should begin monitoring the CMP auction site for availability. Non-reclaimed rifles will be posted under a buy it now format for a set price and on a first-come, first-served basis. Each rifle available for sale via this process will have photos of the exact product being offered, and while each one will not have the detailed description you've come to expect for other auction items, the information will be sufficient for customers to make an informed decision and will still provide more information than our legacy mail order process, which was singularly grade-centric in terms of information provided. This process will go into effect in the coming weeks, and more information on exactly how it'll work is forthcoming. Effective immediately, all rifles in the store will be clearly marked to provide customers with complete clarity when making purchase decisions. As far as reclaimed drill rifles sold in physical stores, mail order, and travel games, significant quantities of M1s and M1903s available. They are comprehensively and rigorously tested to be safe, and non-reclaimed rifles have other issues as well. The CMP appreciates the loyalty and passion of our customers and competitors. We have a like passion for all we do. We do understand that this shift in our surplus rifle sales process is a substantial change from our normal business operation. It is what in the art of possible. It is what is within the art of possible given our existing inventory. We fully intend for this to be temporary and are working hard to achieve that result. I look forward to your questions and comments. And then there's a bunch of questions and comments afterwards as well.
I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stressrelief.com.
the number 2, logic.com. That is STRESS, the number 2, LOGIC.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. All right, folks, we're going to take a deep dive into the website, and we're going to talk about some things that are available. Effective January 7th of 2025, customers are allowed to purchase up to 12 surplus rifles of any type per year, excluding 22 rifles. And due to supply issues and customer feedback, there's no longer a free rifle case with every purchase. Customers will receive one free rifle case per calendar year with their first purchase of an M1 Garand in each calendar year. Rifles not shipped in a rifle case will be shipped in a custom corrugated cardboard box with convoluted foam. All right, so let's see what else. Well, let's talk about Krag Jorgensen rifles. There's a limited supply of Krag Jorgensen rifles. I imagine these are bolt action World War I type. Then you've got the M1917 Enfield rifle, the P17 Enfield in a 30 caliber. They also have the M1903, which is currently sold out. The M1 carbine is a 30 caliber designed primarily to offer non-combat and line of communication troops with a better defensive weapon. They also have precision air rifles, Walther LG400 Blue Tech Precision Air Rifle. They're available to individuals as well as clubs. And then there's air pistols, Alpha Project Competition PCP pistol and .177. The sales are restricted to members of CMP affiliated clubs. Then you've got Sporter air rifles. They are the largest segment of growing of junior shooting today. It's a 3-position air rifle. Then you've got 22 target commercial rifles, and as well as the M1 Garand. And those are the long guns that are available. Currently, there are 2 channels for 1911 sales. The first one is a surplus U.S. military M1911A1, arguably one of the most iconic handguns ever produced. It was a standard issue handgun for the U.S. Armed Forces from 1911 to 1985. They are genuine U.S. military issues and field tested. Each firearm is inspected and test fired, ensuring collectors and enthusiasts receive a quality piece of American history. Don't miss your chance to own the legendary 1911, exclusively offered by the CMP. And these are guns that are from World War II. The procedures for purchasing are, it's an FFL governed operation, has its own record keeping system. All ordering information is included in the CMP 1911 order packet. If you have questions, there is a contact form on thecmp.org. And every applicant is treated as a new customer to the CMP. Previous purchases or relationships create no advantage or disadvantage. And effective May, the lifetime purchase limit of 1911 surplus pistols have been updated from 2 to 4. Pricing. Let's talk about pricing. So you've got auction grade, and the condition of the auction pistol is described in the auction. Sold out is range grade for $1,150. These are 1911 pistols for those that want to be a part of history and a shooter but not collectible. These are 1911s that have been modified in some way and may have some commercial parts. No 2 pistols are alike. The modifications could be the following: night sights, extended beaver tail, rubber grips, barrels, oversized slide release, target triggers, adjustable rear sights, tactical match hammer, competition grip safety, sight rib, slides, checkered front strap, ambidextrous safety, different finishes, and some of the manufacturers of these parts are Barstow, Wilson, Ed Brown, Packmeyer, Hogue, Caspian, and Bomar. So those are range grade. Rack grade is $1,100, and this pistol will exhibit rust, pitting, and wear on the exterior surfaces and friction surfaces. Grips may be incomplete and exhibit cracks. Pistol requires minor work to return to issuable condition but is functional. Pistols may contain commercial parts. The field grade is $1,200 and it may exhibit minor rust, pitting, and wear on exterior surfaces and friction surfaces. Grips are complete with no cracks, and the pistol is in issuable condition and may contain some commercial parts. Finally, the last grade before we move on to another topic is service grade, which is $1,300. The pistol may exhibit minor pitting and wear on exterior surfaces and friction surfaces. Grips are complete with no cracks, and the pistol is in issuable condition. Pistols may contain commercial parts. Now, I will tell you, for me, I am not a collector. I'm a shooter. Although by owning more than one firearm, anyone is a collector. So with that said, this is not my cup of tea, but it may be yours. There are people, I grew up across the street from a guy who collected antiques. I'm certain he had some guns from the CMP. In any event, you do have to be a member of a CMP club. The CMP website does specify everything that you need. If you have questions or would like to join us for our July class, please reach out. My electronic business card is marcusmelnick.com. Please have a great week, stay safe, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you for listening.
We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.